ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ओम पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी। We'll chant the whole Gita Dhyanam. नमोऽस्तु ते व्यास विशाल बुद्धे पुल्लारविन्दायत पत्र नेत्र येन त्वया भारत तैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमय प्रदीपः प्रपन्न पारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्स सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। भीष्मद्रोणतटा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैरणनदी कैवर्तककेशवः पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलम् गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटम् नानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितम् लोके सज्जन षट्पदैर्हरः पेपीयमानं मुदा भूयात् भारत पंकजं कलिमल प्रध्वंसि न श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः साङ्गप्रदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुत्सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः. Are all of you able to see the board? If not, you can come to the front or on this side because we'll be. आप भी आ जाइए, you can come. Hari Om. So we are chanting Gita Dhyanam. Gita Dhyanam is the invocation to Mother Gita, our homage to Mother Gita, to Ved Vyas Ji, who is the composer of Mahabharata and who placed Bhagavad Gita in the Mahabharata, in the middle of the Mahabharata. And those are the first two verses, one to Mother Gita, one to Ved Vyas Ji, and then the remaining 7 verses are our homage to Bhagwan Sri Krishna, who revealed this Bhagavad Gita knowledge to Arjuna and through Arjuna to all of us. So last week we had done the first shloka of this Gita Dhyanam, where we discussed that it was told by Bhagwan to Partha, to Arjuna, by Lord himself, and this was placed by Ved Vyas Ji, Bhagwan Ved Vyas Ji, into the middle of the Bhagavad Gita. And what does the Bhagavad Gita do? Gives us the knowledge of Advaita, that there is only one God and the whole universe is his manifestation. And we are not separate from that God. That was, and it is of 18 chapters. And I meditate upon that and I pray to Mother Gita for her blessings. So this is what we had studied last week, the shloka number 1. Today we'll do 2, 3, and 4. So we have already chanted it. So we'll keep chanting the whole Bhagavad Gita Dhyanam until we finish the commentary on the Dhyanam. And then after that, we'll just do the first and last verse. So we can chant the second if you want together. Just the second. Namostu te vyasa vishala buddhe pullaravindayata patra netra yena tvaya bharata taila purnaha prajvalito jnanamaya pradipaha. So I'll do the word by word and then little bit the commentary which you can follow on the board. So Namaha Astu Te. Namaha means my prostration, my pranams to Astu. May I offer my pranams to Te, who you, Bhagwan Vyas, Ved Vyas Ji. And what is he? The Vishala Buddha. He has a huge, profound intellect, very advanced intellect. And we'll see why he is called Vishala Buddha. Pulla Arvinda. Pulla means it is a fully blossomed Arvinda means lotus. So, Pulla Arvinda Ayata, spread out, just as the lotus leaf or the lotus flower when it fully blossoms, how it spreads out. Yata Patra Netra. Patra means the petal of the lotus. Your eyes are like the lotus petal, which is fully blossomed lotus. Your eyes are like that. Why they are comparing, we'll study that. And what have you done, O Vedyasji? Yena, by this knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita, Tvaya, by you, Bharata Taila Purnaha, the Bharata, Mahabharata, Taila means tail, the oil, Purna. So this oil of the Mahabharata, you have put that in the knowledge in the Bhagavad Gita. Prajvalito, by this oil of the Mahabharata, Prajvalita means burnt or illumined or lit. Jnanamaya Pradipaha, this lamp of Jnanamaya, of knowledge, has been lit up by you with the Mahabharata and by the Bhagavad Gita. So let us see each by word. Namaha, Namaha means prostration, and we always learn that when we go to the temple, we prostrate to God or to the Guru when the Guru or Swami comes to our house, or even elders, parents, grandparents. So that is something we should teach our children, that when you meet, when you go to the temple, bow down, or when you meet a Swami, or so bow down. So this attitude of humility is very important, especially because Vyas Bhagwan is an incarnation of Bhagwan Vishnu. He's a manifestation of Bhagwan Vishnu. So we bow down to him. It is because of him that we have the entire Mahabharata, and the Bhagavad Gita shlokas were composed by Madhusudan Saraswati ji. This Gita Dhyanam shlokas, but the entire 700 verses of the Bhagavad Gita were composed in a meter form, in a poetry form by Vedyasji, because this dialogue was between Bhagwan Sri Krishna and Arjuna in a prose form. We don't talk in poetry, Arjuna Uvacha or like that. We don't chant when we talk. But what Vedyasji has done is he has composed this Bhagavad Gita into a beautiful musical melody, which we can chant and which we will enjoy. And this is 5,000 years ago, and still we enjoy chanting. Just now we chanted the Gita Dhyanam, or when we do the shlokas of the Bhagavad Gita, how much joy we have in the chanting. So that's gratitude to Vedyasji. Now, they say that, are you able to see the board? If you like, you can move on this side. Are you able to see? Okay. So people say, when we do the Bhagavad Gita chanting, it lasts for 3 hours. When you sit down, when we do on Gita Jayanti. So you mean to say for 3 hours, Arjuna and Bhagwan were talking in the middle of the battle? So they say it was not, 3 hours is when we chant with the poetry, with the music, the first chapter where Dhritarashtra Uvacha and then Arjuna speaks to. So in prose, when two people are talking, they don't talk in poetry, and they don't say in the middle Arjuna Uvacha or Dhritarashtra Uvacha. So in prose, it was much shorter, and both of them were fluent in Sanskrit. That was their first language. So it was shorter, number one. And even though the material is divided into 700 verses, but it didn't take them that long. Secondly, as being God or Bhagwan, he could freeze the time. So time was frozen when the two of them were talking, even though the armies were there, he could stop the time. And people thought, oh, they just talked for 2-3 minutes, which actually, lasted much longer. So it's actually not 3 hours, but that is how the composition is. Now, they say Ved Vyasji is Vishala Buddhi. He is a very profound intellect, very advanced intellect. Why do we say that? Because what they say is what Chishtam, what what Uchishtam, what Ved Vyasji has not touched is not there in any human knowledge. He, in his lifetime, touched everything, all the knowledge that we can think of, whether it's not only spirituality, religion, how to behave, what is conduct, philosophy, physics, chemistry, government, running of the government, how society should function. There is nothing which, so they say Vyaso Chishtam Jagat Sarvam. Whatever Ved Vyasji has touched is the entire universe. And we'll just see how a few things that we'll mention that Ved Vyasji actually composed a lot, but the few major things, he composed 17 Puranas, Shiv Puran, Vishnu Puran, all Devi Puran. He composed them. And when that was done, when Naradji came and told him, he composed the 18th, which is Srimad Bhagavat, which is the largest Purana, which talks about Sri Krishna and Vishnu Bhagwan, Vishnu's avatars, and a lot of other stories and ideas are there. So that was composed by Ved Vyasji. Then all the Vedas, before Ved Vyasji came, the Vedas were scattered all over, different Mahatmas, different scholars, different realized masters had expressed these ideas of the Vedas. They had directly heard in their meditation. That's why the Vedas are said to be Shruti. They were heard by them in their meditation from the higher self. So they were scattered and they used to memorize and pass it on from teacher to student. And then there would be like Chaturvedi, who has memorized all 4 Vedas, Trivedi, 3 Vedas, Dvivedi, 2 Vedas, or Vedi. Nowadays, of course, Chaturvedi, Trivedi, they are just last names. They may not even know a single word of the Vedas, but they have that name. But in the olden days, to get a title of Chaturvedi or Trivedi, you had to have memorized 3 to 4 Vedas. So Ved Vyasji realized, this was thousands of years ago, that as the society is getting more urbanized, previously people used to live in the forest, by the riverside, close to the mountains, and very rural, and with just cows and husbandry. But as he realized, as the cities get bigger and people start traveling, they're not going to have time to memorize all these Vedas. Even now, we find even to memorize 1 or 2 shlokas, sometimes people say, I have a problem. So he decided to have it, first of all, written down. Secondly, into 4 Vedas, divide into 4 Vedas, Rig Ved, Sam Ved, Atharva Ved. Yeah. And so the 4 Vedas were
Atharva Veda.
Yajur Ved, sorry, I got a template. So Rig Ved, Sam Ved, Yajur Ved, and Atharva Ved, 4 Vedas. I got a little thought block. So those were divided by him, and then the Vedas were into 3 portions: the mantras, the Brahmanas, and the Upanishads. The mantras were paying homage to gods and to nature. Brahmanas were the rituals, how we offer prayers to another. When the Panditji does the chanting or the offering in the yajnas, that is all in the Brahmanas. And then the Upanishads are the highest knowledge, which is the knowledge of oneness between God and us. And then he also composed the Mahabharata, which was 100,000 verses, 100,000 verses. And the story some of you may have heard, but it's an interesting story. I'll just put it in short. He needed, because he was going to just speak them. He wasn't going to write them. And 100,000 verses, just like that, one by one, he was going to chant the entire Mahabharata. But he needed somebody to write. And so they asked Ganesh Bhagwan, Ganeshji, to write the Mahabharata. And it is said he broke 1 tusk and used that as a pen to write the Mahabharata. So Ved Vyasji was speaking, Ganeshji was writing. And Ganeshji said, but one thing, you have to keep talking. If you stop talking, I will stop writing and I will disappear. I'll go away. So you can't stop. So your 100,000 verses, you have to say without break. So Ved Vyasji said, that maybe a little difficult. So he put his own condition. He says, Ganeshji, you will only write something if you understand it. If you don't understand it, you have to think and wait. So what he would do, Ved Vyasji, as he was speaking, if suddenly he found he had a little pause, he would put a particular shloka or a particular verse that had a 2, 3, 4 meanings, very confusing. And Ganeshji would take a moment to think, what is he saying? So he had to stop writing. And in that writing, Ved Vyasji then could come up with more ideas. So this is just a story, but the idea is that it is a divine creation. Then there are 18 Upa Puranas. There are the main 18 Puranas, and there are subsidiary Puranas, which that knowledge also was there. Then he composed the Brahma Sutras. Brahma Sutras are the essence of the Upanishads, the highest knowledge in sutra form. Sutra means one line. Major ideas are given in one line or 3, 4 words. And then so that is the idea is given in brief, like the law of gravitation, or the law of the Pythagoras theorem, square of the, hypotenuse is the sum of the square of the other two sides. That is a short message, but it has a lot of ramifications, lot of significance, how the triangle is formed, how it is used, how to measure, all that. So sutras are short messages. So that these and many more were composed. I have just mentioned the major ones. That's how great his intellect was. So that is Vyasa Vishala Buddhi. And they talk about his eyes are like lotus leaves, like lotus flowers. Why do they talk about eyes as lotus? Because eyes are used to communicate, right? When two people look at, like when beloved, when they are in love, how they just don't have to talk. They just look at each other with love and they can convey the love. Or husband and wife, when the children are there and they don't want something the child to know, then they just talk through the eyes. And or sometimes if the husband has done something wrong, wife only has to look with one eye, and वो बेचारे को मालूम पड़ जाता है कि गलती हो गई, I made a mistake. She doesn't have to say anything. They can communicate with the eyes. Talking about communicating with eyes, so there was this couple who were fighting a lot, all the time, constantly fighting. And she'll say, oh, you don't do this, you don't pay attention to me. And he says, you don't do this. And all the time they were complaining. They decided to get a divorce. And one of their friend comes and he says, why do you want to get a divorce? You have children. Why don't you go for counseling? Go for counseling and maybe you can solve your problems. Counselors are trained to do that. So they both go to the counselor and get an hour and a half appointment, and half an hour he's complaining and 45 minutes she's complaining about each other. And finally the hour and a half passes in constant complaining. He doesn't do this, she doesn't do that. So at the end, the counselor gets up, and it's a male, and he says, he goes to the wife, he embraces her, gives her a big hug and kisses her on the cheek, on both cheeks. And he tells the husband, this is what she needs 3 times a week. So husband says, no problem. I can bring her here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So that was not Ved Vyasji. What they say, that his eyes were like fully blossomed lotus petals, because his eyes were full of compassion, full of wisdom, full of love for all of us. That's why he composed this Mahabharata. And why do they say like lotus? The lotus is considered sacred in our Sanatan Dharma, in our teachings, because the lotus is said to grow. It grows in the muck. It grows in the worst dirt and water and filth. But out of that filth and muck of the lake or the pond comes a beautiful flower with fragrance, with all the color and beauty and all. So similarly, a wise person lives in the same world that you and I live in. This world has a lot of good and bad things, and pollution and violence and all. But these realized masters, these great masters like Swami Chinmayananda or Swami Vivekananda or Ramakrishna Paramhans or Buddha or Jesus, they live in the same world as you and I, but they are able to rise above and spread fragrance. Their life, if you see the life of all these great masters, they are fragrant lives. The knowledge that they have given us, even thousands of years later, these Mahatmas have gone, but their knowledge still remains, illumining us and giving us fragrance. So that's why they say his eyes were, he had a very beautiful eyes, and they were full of love, compassion, and knowledge, just like the lotus flower. That's how his eyes were. And then it says, Bharata Taila Purnaha Prajwalito Jnana Maya Pradipa. The lamp of knowledge was illumined by the oil of the Mahabharata. So why the lamp and why the knowledge? Oil. Oil means the essence of the teachings of the Mahabharata are what give us knowledge. And why lamp? Because lamp, unlike an electric lamp, like we have electric light, you cannot light another light. You can't put another light in. But the lamp, when you light and you put another lamp next to it, it can light the lamp, and it can keep lighting 1, 2, 3, 4, as many as, in Diwali, we do that. We have all these lamps around our house. And with one lamp, you can light all other lamps. So similarly, this knowledge is called Guru Shishya Parampara, just as from a teacher to a student, and then student becomes a teacher and teaches his or her student. So Guru Shishya Parampara, it goes on and on. And for us, we are blessed that Puja Swami Chinmayananda, Puja Gurudev, went to the Himalayas, studied this knowledge from his Guru, Tapovan Maharaj, and came down to the plains to give it to us. We didn't have to go to the Himalayas to study from him. So we owe a debt of gratitude that Puja Gurudev came down from the Himalayas, brought this knowledge, and then taught it to his students and to many people. And his students have become Swamis, and they are now teaching us. Swami Tejomayananda, Swami Ishwarananda, and then there is a Swami Aparajitananda ji who will be coming in December in the first week. Marvelous teacher, beautiful. He will be here December 4th to 11th, but from 5th to 9th will be his discourses. And in the evening, he will talk about Bhagavad Gita, the message of Bhagavad Gita, each day, how Bhagavad Gita can be applied in our daily life. The flyers are there on the entrance, and then if you are in the WhatsApp, you will be getting the flyers. If any of you are not in the Bhagavad Gita WhatsApp, if you don't mind, can you just write my phone number, please, if you don't mind, on the board here. My phone number is 661. If you can just write with that 661-201-6447 with that pen. There is a so you can text me your name and phone number, and we'll put you in the Bhagavad Gita WhatsApp group. So if there's any messages, you can take a picture or just write down my phone number. And please, that way we'll have everybody in the Bhagavad Gita WhatsApp. And we will send you more details about Swami Aparajitananda ji. He will be talking in the evening on Bhagavad Gita in daily life. And in the noon, 11:30 to 12:30, he will talk about Kathopanishad, one chapter from Kathopanishad. Yeah, just myself. Yeah, please. Anil Mehta, and you can type, right? Yeah, so that's what. So the lamp of knowledge was lit by him, and that is what his eyes represent that. And the lamp is Dhyanamaya Pradipaha. Now Bharata, Bharata Tailapurna. Bharata means here Mahabharata. So what is Mahabharata? Mahabharata is as I said, 100,000 verses, 201-6447. Yeah, you can take a picture at the end or just send me your name, please. So I'll put you in the. So Mahabharata was composed by Ved Vyasji, 100,000 verses, and in that the Bhagavad Gita was placed in the middle, which has the final knowledge. And Jnanamaya Pradipa, the lamp of knowledge. Okay, and then firstpower.info is the website where if you click on firstpower.info, first power is one word, and then .info, if you click on it, you will get all the previous talks. So all 18 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita that we have done before, we just started for the third time. We have done it twice before. So you click on firstpower.info, you can listen to previous talks. Or if someday, if you miss on some Sunday, Amit puts them on the website. And then next day you can listen to the talk. So if you happen to miss, so make a note of these two things, please. So it is said that Mahabharata, now why is it called Mahabharata? What was in it besides the Bhagavad Gita, besides the stories of Pandavas and Kauravas? Why is it called Mahabharata, the great Bharata? First of all, the word Bharata, Bha means knowledge, Rata means one who is engaged in the pursuit of knowledge. So Arjuna was, one of his names was Bharata because it was he who got this knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads from Bhagwan Sri Krishna. So and Bharata is also the name of our country. You know, India is the British name, but the true name is, a traditional name is Bharata, means if I'm from Bharata, then my goal should be to pursue knowledge, in the pursuit of knowledge. And Mahabharata has not only has the Bhagavad Gita and the stories of Pandavas and Kauravas, which we know about, it has Ashtavakra Gita, which is the highest philosophy. Then the Sanat Kumaras, the four sons of Brahmaji, they went to Dhritarashtra and taught him Vedanta, and he heard from the highest teachers, the direct sons of Brahmaji. Tobi, he didn't get it. You know, even though he got from the best teacher, he remained blind. He was not only physically blind, but mentally blind. He was attached to his children and let them do all the wrong things. Then all the administration, commerce, finance, physics, everything is given in Mahabharata. Then there was a Vidurji who was a very wise person. His Niti, Vidur Niti is there, how to deal with people, how king should deal with people, how people should deal with the king, how ambassadors should, when they go to other countries. So all that is in there. Then there are a lot of stories, Shakuntala, you know, you've heard of Shakuntala, and there were a lot of beautiful plays and stories are there. Yayati was another story. And then at the end of Mahabharata, they have put the Ramayana. The whole story of Ramayana in brief has been put there. So there is nothing of the world which is not there in the how to deal with people, family, children, parents. Everything is explained. And also at the end of the war, Arjuna, after the war was over, he goes to Bhagwan and says, you had taught me that knowledge. So can you do it again? So Bhagwan says, look, I was in a different frame of mind, but I'll tell you the same knowledge in brief. And it is called Anugita, a short Bhagavad Gita, and that also is in Mahabharata. So all that is in Mahabharata, and that was composed by Ved Vyasji. And his father was Parashar Muni. And we'll talk about Parashar's story later on again. It will be coming in this Gita Dhyanam. So we will talk about it at that time. Who was Parashar Muni and what was how Ved Vyasji was born. So we'll talk about that in the 5th or 6th verse. Parasharya in the 7th verse. So now we'll chant the 3rd verse. Prapanna parijataya totra vetraikapanaye jnana mudraya krishnaya Gitamrita duhe namaha. So prapanna means I bow down to you. Bow down not only when we bow down to God, but Sashtang Namaskar, where you lie down and your whole body is flat on the ground. So that is called prapanna. So he says, I bow down to who? Krishna. Because from third to ninth, we had said they are all to Bhagwan Sri Krishna. So I bow down, I prostrate. That means my humility and I surrender my ego. See, as long as I keep my ego, I will never learn. So you have to surrender your ego to the teacher and to the Lord. So he says, Prapanna, I bow down, I surrender. And Parijata. Parijata is a tree, is called wish fulfilling tree. That means if you sit under that tree, all your wishes will be fulfilled. Anything you want will be fulfilled. And where did this Parijata tree come from? So I think you may have heard about the Amrit Manthan, where they took the ocean and they used that, what do you call that, churning of the rod from the ocean to get Amrit. And what was the rod? The rod was the mountain, Meru mountain. And the rope was Vasuki, the snake. So that was the rope. And that was used to churn this mountain. And from the ocean, they wanted to get Amrit. The gods and the demons, they were churning the ocean. And a lot of things came out, Lakshmi ji came out and she immediately came and chose Bhagwan Vishnu. She says, I want Bhagwan Vishnu. He's the most beautiful. He's the best. So she chose him. Then a horse, a beautiful horse came out. Then an elephant came out, the white elephant that was taken by Indra as his ride. And the Parijata tree came out, where if you sit under the tree, all your wishes get fulfilled. But we say, well, I haven't seen such tree. But Bhagwan Sri Krishna is said to be the Parijata tree, because whatever I wish, if I sit in front of the Lord, if I ask, and if I have put the effort, I will get. And Lord has given everything to us, this whole universe, whatever, our body, mind, intellect, so many things. So Bhagwan Sri Krishna is the Parijata tree, the wish fulfilling tree, who will give me all my goods. So Prapanna Parijataya. Then it says Totra Vetra Ekapanaya. Totra Vetra means the stick, the cane. Ekapanaya. In one hand, Bhagwan Sri Krishna carries the stick. And when did he carry the stick? When he had to take the cows. As a child, he used to take the cows to the forest for grazing. So, you use a stick to kind of move that. So we'll talk about that, the stick. Then Ekapana, in one hand he carries the stick, and with the other hand he has Jnana Mudra, this chin mudra that we use for meditation. So that in one hand he has the stick, and the other hand he has this Jnana Mudra. Jnana Mudraya Krishnaya. To that Krishna I bow down, Prapanna, who has the stick in one hand, who is the Parijata tree, and who has the Jnana Mudra. And what the Jnana Mudra represents, we'll explain that. And what did he do? Gita Amrita Duhe Namaha. He was the cowherd. Just as a cowherd gets milk from the cow, the nectar of the Bhagavad Gita, the immortality, the knowledge of the immortal self, which is given through the Bhagavad Gita, was revealed to us by him. So we talked about Prapanna, we are prostrating. Parijata, we talked about. Now Krishna, the word Krishna, Bhagwan Sri Krishna. So Krishna has many, many meanings, but 2 or 3, we will cover it. One is Krishna means Akarshana, that which is very attractive. And if you look at Bhagwan Sri Krishna's form, like in the main hall, that beautiful murti, you feel attracted towards him, towards the Lord. So and not only that, but throughout his life, everybody was attracted. Even as he was a baby, he was a child, the gopis were attracted to him, and everybody loved him. except of course few enemies who were the evil, but everybody else loves. So he is very attractive. He's very lovable. That's why Akarshana. Then Krishna also means dark. So why do we use dark for Bhagwan? Because first of all, the Lord is not visible to us, right? We cannot see it. We can contemplate upon him in our meditation and feel his presence within, or people who have done a lot of tapas, Lord manifests. But generally, he is not visible to us. So he's dark and he can only be found within. Also, dark because he was dark blue, his color was dark blue. So they said so the gopis, when they would see the cloud, dark cloud, they would say, oh, that's my Bhagwan Krishna, or when they would see so that is number one. Number two, dark blue is the color of infinity, like the sky. What is the color of sky? Blue, right? You say sky is blue. And how far does the sky extend? Infinite. Space goes on forever. Is it really blue? No. When you go close, you find there is no blue. It is infinity. And so whenever children make the sky, they make it blue. Or when they make the ocean, they make it blue. So Bhagwan Krishna is infinite, like space. He is infinite, like the ocean. So that's why he is dark blue. And that is why Krishna. And then there are other meanings also, that Krisha and Na represent Sat, Chit, Anand. He's the existence, consciousness, bliss. So many meanings, but I just mentioned 2 or 3 of them. So he is infinite. The Lord is infinite, endless. There is no end of that Lord. And that is Bhagwan Sri Krishna. Then it says, Totra Vetraika Panaya. He has a stick in his hand. Stick in his hand, just as you drive cattle. So Bhagwan, with this knowledge, drives our mind in the right direction towards him, towards the highest. And if we don't listen, and if we misbehave, or if we have some wrong habits or wrong tendencies, or do something evil or dishonest, then punishment also comes. And punishment does not come from God, it comes from our own karmas. If I have done bad karmas, I will get the bad result. So stick represents the karma phala, that if I have done something wrong, then that will come to hurt me and my karmas will come. Nobody will punish. So stick is representative of that, and that he is directing us in the right direction. And then Jnana Mudraya Krishnaya. He is the Jnana Mudra. What is Mudra? Mudra is a different postures. Like when they do dance, girls who do this Kathakali or all this dance, they do all these different mudras with the hand representing the different, emotions, with their hand, they will do this representing anger and all that, love. So all these mudras. So here, Bhagwan Sri Krishna is said to have Jnana Mudra. Jnana Mudra. What is Jnana Mudra? Jnana Mudra is also called Chin Mudra. If you can see my hand, my index finger is touching the thumb and the 3 fingers are separate. So why is this called Jnana Mudra, or the mudra of knowledge? Because the word mudra is mudram dadati iti mudra, mudam dadati. One that gives us joy is mudra. So this Jnana Mudra gives us joy and gives us the right knowledge. And rishis, when they meditate, they always put their fingers like that with their thumb. Why do they do that? So the index finger represents ego. Like I say, oh, you didn't do it, I don't like you, so when I point a finger, they say, it's very rude to point. So because the index finger represents ego, when you point at somebody, that means my ego, I got hurt, I didn't like you. Now the thumb represents God or Brahman, because without the thumb, suppose my thumb is cut off, the 4 fingers are useless. I can't hold anything. I can't hold a pen, I can't hold a knife, I can't drive. I can't do anything. My hand is useless if the thumb is not there. But other one or the other finger may be cut. As long as the thumb is there, the hand can function. So just as the hand cannot function without thumb, we cannot function without God. So God or Brahman represents the thumb. So thumb represents God, represents Brahman. So when the index finger is touched and connected to God or to Brahman, then what happens? It makes a complete circle, right? It makes a circle. And circle is infinite because circle has no beginning, no end. So when I connect to God, then I become complete. I become like God, connected with God. So when the ego is connected with God, it becomes divine. That's why all these saints and Mahatmas, their mind is always with the Lord. So the more we keep our mind with God, the more our mind will become purer, will become, and it will express gratitude. Actually, today's message for the children is that keep your mind for 10 minutes every day, remembering God. And we should see how the children answer that. How do they express that? That was one of Swami Chinmayananda's quotations. Every week, we give a different quotation to the children based on their age, and then they interpret. So today, the second and third graders will talk about how to remember God and why to remember God. So after this, when we go into the main hall. So anyway, so the index finger connecting with God becomes infinite. And what are these three? These three represents three states, like three bodies, like gross, subtle, and causal body. We have the gross body, then the subtle body, the mind and intellect, and the vasanas are the causal body. Is anybody not familiar with this chart? I can go over briefly. If everybody knows this chart? No? Okay. So very quickly, you can see the chart, right? Everybody can see. So the BMI, the body, mind, and intellect are my equipment. Body is my gross body. Mind and intellect is the subtle body, which I cannot see, the mind and intellect. And with the body, mind, and intellect, I become a perceiver, feeler, and thinker, which means with the body, I perceive the objects of the world. With the mind, I feel the emotions, all emotions, joy and sorrow, anger. And with the intellect, I think the thoughts, the ideas. So with the BMI, I become the perceiver, feeler, and thinker of this whole universe of objects, emotions, and thoughts. Now, V represents vasanas. Vasanas are my tendencies, my habits, my strong desires, and each one of us is born with strong vasanas. That's why we took human birth, because there were unfulfilled desires which were not fulfilled, and we took human birth to fulfill them. And then the vasanas could be good or bad. They could be good habits or bad habits, good tendencies or bad tendencies. And then in this life, and how did they form? In my previous life. In my previous life, if I had done good things, I have good vasanas. If I have done bad things, I'll have bad vasanas. So all those mixture of vasanas causes me to have human birth. So the goal of spirituality is to substitute good vasanas for wrong vasanas. If I have wrong habits, wrong tendencies, like somebody, has a habit for drinking, for example, excessively, or excessively, possessing things or acquiring things, or have the habit of jealousy, greed, all those things. So removing negative vasanas and substituting positive vasanas. So what are the positive, like going to temple or learning Bhagavad Gita or helping others or serving or, compassion, kindness. So those habits, if we develop, that's called positive vasanas. So that is called the causal body. So the B is the gross body, mind and intellect is the subtle body, and V or vasanas is the causal body, which causes me to take birth. And then Om represents God's name. Om is God, and you can put here Sri Krishna, Sri Ram, Mother Durga, whatever you want. But Om is one of God's names, and we have all these in us. We have the gross body, We have the subtle body, the mind and intellect. We have, all of us have vasanas or tendencies. And we have Om, which is God. So that also is there. So the goal of life is that this body, mind, and intellect, which is attached to objects, emotions, and thoughts, to the world, to people, change the direction towards Om, towards God. That's why Guru Dev says, what is spirituality? Detach and attach. So detach from the lower and attach to the higher. So Om is the highest. And in the middle, the obstacle is vasanas. Vasanas are not only wrong tendencies, but also ignorance. So ignorance is the obstruction and wrong tendencies. So when we remove those, we connect with God. So that's what they say. So that's what this BMI chart briefly represents: me, the world, and God. So these three fingers represent the gross, subtle, and causal body. The gross body we can see, the subtle body, the mind and intellect, and the causal body, the vasanas. Also, when this individuality, I, this ego, attached to God and separates from these three bodies. Separate me does not mean death, but does not give importance to these three bodies and is connected with God, then I am one with God. That is infinity. Also, the three also means waking, dream, and deep sleep. We go through three states of consciousness: waking, dream, and deep sleep. I hope none of you are in the third state. But hopefully, that's why I keep telling jokes so that people don't fall asleep or stories. So the three states, our body all the time goes through the three states: waking, dream, deep sleep. So when this ego separates from these three bodies or these three states, or also means sattva, rajas, and tamas, that will come a lot in the Bhagavad Gita. Tamas is laziness, rajas is passion, sattva is knowledge. So our life is all the time in these three things, either the three states or the three bodies or the sattva, rajas, and tamas. So when the ego separates from these three and connects to God, that is called Chin Mudra. So Bhagwan Sri Krishna carries the symbol of Chin Mudra with him, representing the truth, representing the final truth, the consciousness, and taking us beyond the ego. We'll start the fourth one. If we don't have time to finish, we can finish it next week. It's a very beautiful simile, one of the best similes of the Bhagavad Gita, number 4. We can chant together. Sarvopanishado gaho dokta gopalanandana partho vatsa sudirvokta dukdam gitamritam mahat. So Sarva Upanishad, all the Upanishads are cows. Gavo, Dogda Gopala Nandana. And Gopal Nandana, he was the son of the cowherd, and he's the cowherd. Gopal, Sri Krishna is the cowherd because he used to milk cows. So Gopala Nandana, Partha Vatsa Sudhir Bhokta. Partha is the calf. Whom does the cow give milk for? For the calf. But all the rest of us enjoy the milk, even though the milk is given for the calf. So similarly, even though this knowledge was given to Arjuna, Sudhihi Bhokta, people with the right ideas, people who are honest, sincere, and who have the right intellect, understanding, they enjoy the Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita was not only enjoyed by Arjuna when he got it from Bhagwan, but through Arjuna, all of us get to enjoy. Sudhir Bhokta, they enjoy. And what is the milk? It is the nectar of immortality called the Bhagavad Gita, Mahat. So briefly, why the Upanishads are called cows? Because being a cowherd, he used to milk the cows, and then the milk used to be distributed for people to drink. So similarly, Upanishads are the source of knowledge, just as a cow is a source of milk. She eats grass and grain and all, and she produces beautiful milk, sweet milk, which everyone can enjoy. So similarly, the rishis who composed the Upanishads took the ideas from the world and came up with these beautiful mantras of the Upanishads, which we all can enjoy. Just as milk is beneficial to all, a child can drink it, a newborn baby can drink it, a young boy, even a wrestler, even a great sports player, and everybody. So milk is universally enjoyed by all. So this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is enjoyed by all of us. Anybody, whether he may be a child, he can enjoy. Even in our Bal Vihar, to the older children, we teach them Bhagavad Gita. So this knowledge is for children, for adults, for seniors, retired. Everybody can benefit from this. So that is the milk of the Upanishad, is the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita, and which is the essence of the Upanishads. The essence of the Upanishads, what Bhagwan has done is, the Upanishad knowledge was very complex, taught to great students. He has made that knowledge, same essence he has kept, but made it so all of us can benefit, everybody. That's why Bhagavad Gita is considered a universal text, that no matter what your background, no matter what your, whether you don't even have to be Indian or Hindu, Bhagavad Gita is now taught in so many major universities of the world, and everybody is studying Bhagavad Gita. So it is the infinite knowledge, but made easy for us to understand. The same Upanishad. It's not any less than the Upanishad, but it is simpler for us. And Gopala means Gopalan. Gopal means one who takes care of cows. That was one meaning. Go also means the Vedas, the Upanishads. So the knowledge of the Vedas was revealed by Bhagwan himself to the rishis. Go also means the sense organs. So who is the controller of the sense organs, because of whom the sense organs work? Bhagwan himself. So Gopal is the name of the Lord, who is the Lord of our senses, who has revealed this knowledge to us of the Vedas, made it simple. And as we said, milk is easily digestible. So same way, this knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita, we can all benefit from. And Upanishads were, as I said, revealed to the rishis, but they were high knowledge, but he made it simple. Now, why do they say calf? Partha Vatsa, Arjuna is the calf. Why do they say calf? Because if the people who have cows, what they will do is, when the cow is in milking, when she has a newborn calf, they will bring the calf first and let the calf drink some milk, and then the mother immediately starts pouring out the milk, and then they take away the calf, and then then they drain the milk, and then they sell it. So Arjuna was the one to whom Bhagwan revealed this knowledge, just as a mother cow gives the milk to the calf, but then everybody benefits from that milk. So similarly, Arjuna was the student who got this knowledge. He's the calf, but through him, we all benefit. Sudhihi Bhokta, those of us who have the wisdom and the right knowledge and the desire to learn, they will benefit from this knowledge. So we have to be grateful not only to Bhagavan Sri Krishna, but to Arjuna also, that it's because of him. And Dugdam Gita Amritam Mahata. And Gita is the immortal, Amritam means the immortal knowledge that never perishes. Even 5,000 years from now, people will still be studying Bhagavad Gita as they have been studying for the last 5,000 years. And last week we had seen so many great masters have written commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita. It is so widely spread. And why is it said Amrit? Because it reveals my immortal nature. Even though we think we are perishing, we are mortal, and this body will perish, and the mind and intellect will merge. But the Om, the consciousness, which is my true nature, is imperishable. I am that of that. So they say that is your true nature. This body, mind, and intellect are your equipment. really all of us are divine. All of us are manifestation of that one divinity. So God is in every one of us. So when we act divine, when we do right things, then God is manifesting through us. When we don't do the right things, then it is our negative vasanas which blocks. See, God's knowledge is always there. The Bhagavad Gita is there even within us. If we do something wrong, then the conscience, they say the conscience bites, oh, you didn't do something right. So the mind will be disturbed. So our true nature is immortal, is eternal, but not knowing that, we think we are this limited body. And when the body dies, I will die. But Bhagavan Sri Krishna will tell Arjuna in the second chapter itself that you are not this body. All of us are not only this body, we are all divine. We are all Om. We are all that consciousness manifesting in this body. And this body is my equipment. This mind and intellect are my equipment. But in reality, I am that. So that knowledge, that is called Amritam, that immortal knowledge was revealed by Bhagwan Sri Krishna to Arjuna in the before the battle of the Mahabharata war. So today we talked about the glory of Bhagwan Vedvyas Ji, who was brilliant, how much he did for us. And then we prostrated to Bhagwan Sri Krishna, who has this knowledge, Dhyana Mudra, and who is the wish fulfiller of all. And then we also recognize that just as the cow herd milks the cow, and the milk is for the calf and for all of us. So Bhagwan Sri Krishna has milked the essence of the Upanishads and made it available for all of us, not only for Arjuna, but we can all benefit from that. So we'll end here. We have about 9 or 10 minutes. If anybody has any questions, comments, either here in person or on Zoom, please feel free to do that. Yeah, the speaker is here, right? Which one? The red one? Okay, the speaker is on. So from Zoom, if somebody talks, and then we need to put it on the view, gallery view. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, thank you. So we have a lot of people on Zoom and also in person. Anybody has any questions, comments, anything you would like to add? Or yes?
I have a question. So when we're talking about
little loud so they can also hear on Zoom.
So when we're talking about the Upanishads, the spiritual masters, the leaders, do they actually study the Upanishads, or do they go from the Gita, then Upanishads, and then Mahabharata? Is there a progression in which they go from one to the other, or
yes,
you study one and like
right.
Let's say you're a master, you're good Upanishads, you need to study the Gita.
Right. Actually, the Mahabharata is studied first because that's why we tell Mahabharata stories to our children. Because Mahabharata, even though has a lot of knowledge, but also has a lot of stories in it. So Mahabharata people study, and in the Mahabharata, there are some higher knowledge also. So they may not all study all those things of the Mahabharata, but that is the story form. And then Bhagavad Gita is the essence of the Upanishads made simpler. So yes, a student would have to study the Bhagavad Gita and then go to the Upanishads. So that's how we have Bhagavad Gita here. We also have an Upanishad class every Tuesday from 12:30 to 1:30. 12 to 12:30 we do Vedic chanting, and then 12:30 to 1:30 we do Upanishad chanting. So if you need that Zoom link, I can give it to you. If you text me, I can give you the Zoom link and also send you the weekly schedule, because we have classes every day from Sunday to Thursday. So we are doing Upanishads on Tuesday from 12:30 to 1:30. Sunday we do Bhagavad Gita. So if anybody at lunchtime, at noontime wants to hear Upanishads, we are covering. This is the last lecture for Kane Upanishad. We'll finish on Tuesday. And then after that, we are starting a new Upanishad, Katha Upanishad. So it is a very Beautiful Upanishad, the Bhagavad Gita, a lot of the ideas have been taken from Katha Upanishad. So if anybody would like to listen to the Upanishad, send me a message and I'll send you the Zoom link and the weekly schedule. We have classes every day from Sunday to Thursday. So that is the sequence from Mahabharata, then Gita, and then the Upanishads. Thank you. That was his question. What is the sequence for the Zoom people? Any other questions, comments? Yeah.
Om is the same thing as Satchidananda, right?
Om is the same. Yeah. Om is the Shabda Brahman. Shabda means Brahman that cannot be described is in a word form. That is Om. So Sat, Chit, and Anand. Sat is existence. Chit is consciousness. Anand is infinitude, bliss. So that Brahman, the total consciousness, is ever existent, is all knowing, and it is infinite. So Sat, Chit, and Anand is existence, consciousness, and infinite bliss, infinitude. And Om is a symbol, like a word symbol, just as for Lord Shiva, you have Shivalinga, right? Or for Bhagwan Vishnu, we have Shaligrama, or for in Christianity, they have the cross representing Jesus and representing our Father in heaven. So similarly, Om is a word symbol that represents the totality.
I'm always a little confused about, there's these three words, and, it's like you can't divide Brahman, but yet it always seems like it's being divided.
No, it's not being divided. Nothing can describe Brahman. Nothing.
Right.
These are indicators. These are indicators, just as when I want to show somebody a moon and the moon is behind the tree, I point with my finger, oh, there is the moon. And so you don't look at the finger, you look at the moon. So Sat, Chit, and Anand are indicators which point to Brahman. So they are not Brahman. They are not even description of Brahman. They are not even three aspects of Brahman. Brahman has no aspects, has no parts, has no divisions. These are all just indicators, just pointers. Just as the finger points to the moon, finger is not the moon. They say, look in that direction. So similarly, these three are pointers which point to the highest truth.
It seems like people always, they use Sat and Chit together. But then Ananda seems like, I don't know, I always hear people talk about it's like a new high or something.
No.
This sounds
right.
bad.
No, Ananda here is used as joy, but when really what they mean, Anand is infinite bliss. It is infinitude, which is not limited. Our joy is limited. Okay, I have a pizza, so I get joy for 10 minutes, or I have a tea or coffee, or somebody has a drink of alcohol, he gets joy for a while. Or I buy a new car or buy new jewelry, then my joy lasts longer. But after a while wears off. But this is infinite joy. So that is Ananda. That is the one, which is infinite, ongoing, and also represents the infinitude of the universe. Yeah, it's not Anand. People translate as joy. That's not the correct translation. Thank you.
The joy what we feel is actually what we are feeling.
A little loud. Yeah.
It's separate. Bliss that you have in your mind. Say, the typical example is Gurudev used to give out coffee. So when you get up in the morning, your mind says, I want, the desire starts. I want coffee. And until you get a coffee, the desire disturbs your peace at night and sleep. So now you got a coffee, suddenly you have that peace. You call that as a joy, but actually the desire prompted activity which caused the disturbance in the peaceful mind was causing the disturbance. And when that disturbance went away because you got a coffee,
right,
you reached that bliss, which you call joy. But so that bliss is always there with you. What disturbs your interrupted desires? That you have, after the coffee, you have next desire.
right.
So that
you.
The bliss is not joy.
Thank you.
It's a joy.
Yeah, I'll translate for the Zoom people. Ansa said it very beautifully. The joy that we get is from desire. Like I have a desire for coffee and I get coffee and it temporarily gives me. But this bliss or ananda that is mentioned is the joy that is always with us, unending, which is never perishes and is not dependent on coffee or or a person or a thing, but it is always with us. I think we have one question from the Zoom. Umaji, you have question?
Yes, please. All I want is the dates for Aparajita Nanda's lectures from December.
Yeah, December 5 to 10. No, 5 to 9. 4 to 11, he's there. Yeah, 5 to 9 are his lectures. On 10th, he will be speaking to the Bal Vihar parents, and they will all be on Zoom. Even 10th, we'll do it on Zoom. So 5 to 10, 5 to, and I'll put it on the WhatsApp. Once the flyer, we'll be putting it on the WhatsApp. It will have the dates and timings. The evenings will be Bhagavad Gita from 5th to 9th of December. And then noon time, 11:30 to 12:30 from 5th to 9th December will be Kathopanishad. And then on the 10th, he will be talking to the Bal Vihar parents, and we'll put that also on Zoom. We can do that, right, Amit? Yeah, we'll have that also on Zoom. So 5th to 10th are his talks. And we'll put the flyer on the WhatsApp and all that, yes.
Also, could you please repeat the meaning of Ek Panai?
Ek Pane means in one hand.
One hand.
Utrave, Ek Panaye. Pani means hand. Ek Panaye means in one hand he has the stick and the other hand he has the chin mudra, like that.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, the time is up, and if so, we'll end here with the closing. And next week there won't be Bhagavad Gita class because next week is Diwali. So please come all dressed up. We'll have a nice feast. Sorry, we won't have that on Zoom. We can't send you the food on Zoom. But we'll have a nice feast. And the mayor of Bakersfield, Karen Go, will be joining us. She will grace the occasion. So please all come and invite your friends. Everybody is welcome. So that we'll have Lakshmi Puja done by by two of the Bal Vihar children. Jayashri will do it with them. And then we'll have songs by Swaranjali. There's a music group that is taught every week. So Shilpi Banerjee does that. So that we'll have. And then we'll have a short talk by the mayor and also by one of the senior students of Bal Vihar, who will talk about Diwali. And then the mayor will speak.
In the afternoon?
Ji?
Will we have Gita in the afternoon?
No, next week we won't have Gita. We'll have it in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Yeah, it is the same time, 11 to 12:30, but we won't have next week. Next week there won't be Gita. We'll have Gita class in 2 weeks. Next week is the Diwali program, and the mayor will be here. She will speak, and then we'll have. So please join us next week, and those who can come. And we'll see you in 2 weeks for the class. Thank you, everybody on Zoom, for joining and for coming in person. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhave. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om.